This is another viewer's dirty gaming PC. Actually, this has sat in a garage for a while, was owned by somebody else who wasn't the viewer, but the viewer more or less inherited the system, and it's in need of a deep cleaning. As you can tell, it's quite old as well, but some of you have pointed out that you're fans of these kinds of cases, and you're disappointed you don't see these cases on the market, much at all anymore. So I'm gonna make it a point in this video to not upgrade the case. We'll upgrade something else in the system, but I'm going to try my best to revive this case, keep it alive for the sake of being old school, because old school is hip now, I guess. To get rid of that annoying activation watermark, hop on over to VIP SCD Key and purchase a Windows 10 Pro OEM key for fractions of the price of retail. Just use a secure payment method like PayPal, receive your key in seconds, and activate your OS here. Bye bye watermark. And be sure to use our new offer code SKGS for a sweet discount. So what we have inside, many of you wanted to know the specs of the system before we start cleaning things up. And this is actually talked about in a previous video. If you haven't seen that, you can check it out up here. It's an Athlon X4 860K, so quite old. I believe it's an A68 HM motherboard, a single 8 gig stick of DDR3 1600 megahertz, an R7 360 2 gig graphics card, and a measly 350 watt oldish power supply. So this is actually a pre-built from a company called Cybertron PC. Not sure if they're still in business, haven't heard of them lately, but they put a really cheap power supply in here. This is pretty typical of a lot of pre-built companies out there, unfortunately. This will be the one thing that we definitely upgrade. Might upgrade something else, so it's gonna be pretty difficult on this old platform. I don't have many parts to swap out here. I had talked to the viewer about completely replacing the platform. Of course, he was okay with that, but I'm still talking with some vendors trying to get them to send things. I don't wanna hold this PC for 2 weeks waiting for parts to arrive, so we might have to skip out on that. Nonetheless, he will have a clean system, and that's definitely a step in the right direction. Speaking of which, let's run through the cleaning gear. I know I do this every episode, but I'm gonna make it really quick from now on, just so new viewers kind of see roughly what we use to get these systems looking spotless again. So we have gloves. A few people made fun of me for wearing gloves, but if you've ever worked around dirty systems, it doesn't really make sense to not wear gloves, especially if you have kids at home. I have a knockoff iFixit toolkit. Pretty much has everything we need to take apart: graphics cards, coolers, everything down to bare board, bare cooler, etc. Q-tips, precision Q-tips. I like to mix these with the isopropyl alcohol, get the small spaces, especially on boards themselves. These really help there. And then I also have an electric duster. That sound never gets old. This thing has anti-static bristles on it, so I can brush boards and things without worrying about damaging those components, as long as I'm not like super aggressive with it, of course. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. Maybe some shop towels or paper towels, something to clean large flat surfaces. Are we ready to clean? I hope so.
Blind eyes in the darkness, frail hands reaching out, sword echoes in the smoke as the doors behind me close. No cure for the madness, each turn tangled in the fear of losing sight of the slowly fading light.
right, so this was our first AIO we've cleaned so far on the playlist. It really wasn't so bad. You just use the shop towels and some isopropyl, get up that, any stains you have on the exterior and the frame of the radiator, and then take some hot water and run that through the fins. You see the fins on this one here, I'll get it close, get my face out of the shot so it focuses. The fins look really good. Considering how old this system is, this AIO is actually in great shape. So I'm really glad we were able to restore this. There's still a bit of water trapped in the fins. I've been blowing it out with the electric blower, but I'm gonna of course let this sit overnight. Anything that I wet with water, I allow to dry overnight, just to be on the safe side. Most of the water is of course out of here, but you want the rest of that to evaporate before we obviously put it back in the system again. So AIO is finished. We've got to clean the fans, then we have the storage drives, actually it's just one storage drive, the hard drive, we have the optical drive, and then the graphics card. We'll fully disassemble that here in a second. All right, we've got everything clean. Again, we're gonna start first with reassembling the case. We'll get all of the wiring set back up. This is actually a pretty intricate case despite it being fairly old, but we're gonna get this together and then we'll reassemble the graphics card, install the motherboard, CPU, RAM, all that good stuff. We'll power it on and make sure that it posts. All right, and now we're gonna try to boot up the system. I believe everything is wired correctly. Switch that power supply switch on. Power button is here. I should probably plug in the power supply first. Okay, I think we're ready. Flip that on. Power button is here. All right, sounds good. The pump and the AIO is working. I was concerned about that. Still good to go there. Both fans are working. And we have a post. All right, folks, that's pretty much all we need to see. As long as it boots up, as long as our drives are detected, which I'll verify in a second, that's really all I'm worried about. I want to make sure the system is working when I give it back to the customer or the viewer. Not really I guess it's kind of a customer. It's not really a paying customer, but still. So with this system, only a few things were changed. First, you probably noticed that I put 2 sticks of DDR3 in there instead of the original single 8 gig stick. So there's still 8 gigs in here, but I figured I'd switch them to dual channel. I don't have many DDR3 kits anymore just laying around, so it's not like I can upgrade them to 16. But the dual channel versus single channel thing for Athlon's not a huge deal. I just figured populating both them slots would look a bit better than having a single stick of 8. He'll probably end up upgrading his entire platform before he decides to upgrade to 16 gigs of DDR3 IMO. The power supply was an obvious upgrade. CX550M from Corsair. I actually bought this myself. I had it overnighted from Amazon. It's really convenient living next to an Amazon warehouse. You can get things pretty much same day or next day delivery. This was a much needed upgrade. The black cables look really good. We tried our best to cable manage. In this case, it actually wasn't too bad. This is an old APVIA case. And I mean, considering what we're working with, I'd say aesthetically, it's not too shabby. We've got a nice red glow here with this front radiator fan. I flipped the AIO upside down so the barbs were facing downward. Again, not really a huge deal, but I figured since we could and we had the space to do it, we might as well. And then we have the hard drive off to the front here, which I'm assuming has the operating system on it. So the system looks good. I wish I could upgrade more. I was working with vendors, trying to get vendors to send things for an entirely new platform. So a pretty big upgrade for the system, but those parts aren't going to arrive in time. Nonetheless, I hope that this viewer is at least satisfied with how clean this system is now. And I think thanks to this new power supply, he has a pretty decent upgrade path or upgrade potential going forward. With that, if you guys enjoyed this cleaning video, be sure to let me know by giving this one a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see next. We have an awfully dirty build coming next. It is extremely dusty. I really don't have any words to describe how bad it is. It is the worst by far, and it's coming up in the next episode in the PCDC series. Thank you guys for the support in this one, and I will catch you in the next one. My name is Greg. Thanks for cleaning with me.